Welcome to another episode of Ben and Jon Do Cars. Today we're looking at mine and my fiance's personal fleet of MGs, the ZR and the ZS. The ZR and the ZS.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sings, absolutely sings. Now, I am a big MG fan, as my t-shirt will tell you. I've had loads of ZRs. That was my first ZS, and I love them. I don't know what it is. I'll try and explain what it is, actually. That's why we're here today.
He loves them. I've never seen anybody so passionate about such a mediocre car. So Ben, tell me a bit more about your love for MGs. Where did it stem from?
Okay, so I don't come from an MG family. Like, I'm the only one in my family that likes them. It was purely because when I was 17, the fastest car I could afford to insure was a Rover 200, and so I bought a Rover 200, and I loved it, and it's all just gone from there. So I've had loads of ZRs. I've had a Streetwise, I've had a TF, the little two-seater before, and I just think for the money, you can't do any better. You just can't.
Got a point there. So tell us a little bit more about this car then.
So we are in, it's not actually technically mine, it's my fiance's. We are in Lauren's 2005 ZR 160 trophy. Actually, it's a factory trophy car. That means it's got slightly stiffer suspension. I think it's about 10 mil lower than a standard ZR. 2005 facelift, which means they changed the dashboard. They changed the front and rear bumpers, they tried to make it look a bit more modern, obviously on a budget of zero, so they've done a bit of a shit job really. So we've had it for 4 years, and in that time Lauren has done about 45-ish thousand miles, on 110,000 miles now, it's been great. In terms of things actually going wrong with it, it's been pretty reliable as well. The head gasket obviously started to go pretty much as soon as we bought it. But
the dreaded K series.
Yeah, it's a stereotype, but it's a stereotype for a reason. They're not quite as bad as everyone makes out.
They're pretty bad.
But it does happen. So
it happens all the time.
Before it got really bad, as soon as there were signs of it, we were just like, right, let's get the uprated head gasket in there. The key with running these cars specifically is you need to get your network of parts suppliers and mechanics sorted. Because if you go to a normal garage with a ZR or a ZS or a ZT for that matter, especially a TF,
they'll tell you to jog on.
They'll tell you either to jog on or they'll charge you,
a shitload of money.
A lot of money, extortionate amounts of money. And so we've probably spent, in terms of things going wrong with it, since we've had it, about £1,000, I reckon, on various things. And I think in 4 years, in 50,000 miles, I think that's pretty good.
It's not bad at all.
Considering this is a stereotypically unreliable car, I think we've done okay.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, in terms of comfort and what it looks like and the feel of it in here, the seat's quite nice. They've got these bolsters on the side which are hugging me in.
I don't wear rose-tinted spectacles, okay? This car is not perfect. The interior quality is not particularly great. You might pick up on the fact that I'm having to speak up a little bit because the road noise and the wind noise is pretty bad.
It's pretty loud in here, I'm not going to lie. Careful. Oh, bumps. Suspension is stiff as you like. It's not bouncy, it's just stiff. Okay, so just put your foot down. Not bad at all.
Third gear.
Once you get into that variable valve system, whoa, Jesus Christ, you can really feel the valves opening up when you get like 4,000 plus revs. Feels quite nice.
It does feel quite nice. One of the things about the 160 is that it has a slightly lower ratio gearbox than the other models, and that's a double-edged sword. What it means is that when you're just poodling around, you've always got power. It's a naturally aspirated engine, but you don't really need a turbo because the gear ratios are so short, you're never far away from the power band. The flip side of that is that means if you're doing 80 or 90 on the motorway, not that you would, it's absolutely screaming its head off.
Yeah.
Oh, that was quite fun, by the way.
Yeah. You're going to let me have a go then? So, first impressions in terms of how I'm sat, how the car feels under my feet and through my hands. Seat, again, it's obviously exactly the same as passenger seat, got the nice bolsters keeping you in. Steering wheel's nice and chunky.
One thing that I always notice about the ZR, I don't know if you're finding this, Johnny, is that you sit too high.
Yeah.
Well, that one is at its lowest setting at the moment, and I feel like I'm sat on top of it rather than in the car.
I want to be further back because I'm quite a lanky bugger. I want to be kind of further back a little bit. I feel like I'm almost...
You can put the seat back.
It's as far as back as it'll go.
Fuck off. No, it's because you've got board games behind there.
Board games. That's better.
No.
I take it back. It's got the room for me.
Bloody board games. Here we go. 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. Yes. Woo!
Okay. So I think I actually took it higher up in the revs to obviously squeeze more out of it then, and yeah, it felt good. It felt nice. So when you're up in the power band, you've got like power pretty much on tap. Not a great deal of it, but a little tweak of that accelerator and you notice it. That's what I quite like about this. It's responsive, it's sharp, it's nice. It's a nice feel to drive.
And obviously the engine is so responsive. It's got quite a light flywheel, so it revs up quite quickly. The throttle response on a ZR is very, very good. This at the end of the day is supposed to be a hot hatch or a warm hatch, and I think it does that pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as well built as say a Focus or a Golf. You know, it does rattle. It's a bit tinny in here. And it's not the fastest thing in the world. They were going to do a 190 version, like a really hot version, which they never got around to because they went bust. And it's worth mentioning with the ZR that if you're up and flowing through a set of fairly fast turns, it's quite good. It's a bit bouncy, but it's quite good. The dynamics are nice. However, the engine is actually placed fairly far forward in the chassis, and that means that on the really twisty stuff, you can start to get a bit of understeer. If you have some mid-range tyres on here and you want to chuck it about expecting some lift-off oversteer, you're going to be disappointed because this thing, its default will always be understeer. Having said that, to get it to that point, especially if there's decent tyres on, you do need to chuck it around like an absolute lunatic. And like I say, in the faster flowy stuff, it does stick fairly well. I love it. I love ZRs. I've had like 8 of them. I think they're awesome. For the money, I don't think you can do any better.
Yeah, there's not really much to say about this car other than it's got a nice bit of power, you can chuck it around a lot, sounds quite cool. The build quality, it's got to be like a 3 out of 10 in here.
Oh, I wouldn't go quite that bad as a 3 out of 10, but it's certainly not great.
Right.
So my ZS then. I bought this ZS about 2 years ago now. I've wanted one of these for quite a while, but it just never really seemed to happen for me. And then I went to Pride of Longbridge, which is a big MG Austin Rover, well, a Longbridge event. And yeah, I just saw a couple of ZS's there. I'd seen them before, obviously, and I thought, man, I need to have one of those. This one was actually a Cat C write-off in a previous life. So I got it nice and cheap. It also had a bit of a gearbox problem, so I bought it for £500. That was about 70,000 miles on the clock. So I was pretty happy with that. But by the time I paid someone to rebuild the gearbox and also change the wheels, because I've got some nicer wheels on it now, it owed me about £1,000. So I'm in this car for about £1,000 in terms of purchase price, and I cannot tell you how happy I am with it. I'm getting to the point now where I'd quite like a newer car. I'd quite like something a bit faster, but to be brutally honest, I primarily use this car for, I don't drive it to work because I walk to work or I work from home. So it's going to the shops, it's doing social stuff, and it's doing track days. Another car that fits that bill, to get anywhere near this car is going to be £2,000, £3,000, £4,000, £5,000. The only thing really that I can think of on the top of my head is a Cooper, a Mini Cooper S. But for £1,000, it's amazing. I love it. I genuinely love it.
I have driven it, and it is quite fun to drive. I'm looking forward to driving it again actually later. Besides how much you love this car, Ben, tell me a bit more about like what you don't like about it.
Okay, so there's not an awful lot, to be honest. The radio's not great, like the stereo quality's not fantastic, and like, you know, the roof line is, I don't know if you can see, the roof lining is sagging, and like a lot of the bodywork that's like sagging, and the fit and finish isn't fantastic. But no, other than that, I'm pretty happy with it.
So this has got a 2.5 litre V6 in it.
Yeah.
It's not the BMW or the Honda engine.
No, a lot of people when they're selling them will say, oh, super reliable Honda engine or BMW engine.
So this has got the KV6 in it?
It's got the Rover KV6 in it, yeah.
Okay, cool. So in terms of all the ZRs you've had and this, what are the major differences between this and the ZR?
So in terms of external dimensions, obviously it's a bit longer, but other than that, the ZS isn't that much bigger than the ZR, but it feels way bigger. It's a much more substantial car on the road, and I mean that in a positive way. It feels more sturdy. The controls are actually a lot lighter. The steering, the pedals, everything's a lot lighter. But yeah, it's just, everything's a bit more tactile. I said to you earlier, the ZR to me feels like a bit of a blunt instrument. Let's see what we can do here. Let's chase this bike down. Yeah, I said to you earlier, the ZR feels like a bit of a blunt instrument to me, which is, you know, sometimes that's good fun. You take it by the scruff of its neck and you rag it around. This is a bit more of a precise tool.
Yeah.
When you're on track with it, and I've put this on track quite a few times in wet and dry conditions, it is so good. Honestly, it is one of the best cars I've ever driven in terms of handling and balance.
Well, one thing I noticed immediately after getting out of the ZR earlier and getting into this, driving this, that this feels so much more planted. I can imagine it on a track, you chuck it where it wants to go and it will go there.
Yeah.
Whereas with the ZR, you get that similar feeling, but because it's lighter and it's a bit more kind of understeery, you're not quite as sure where it's going to go. Whereas this is kind of, you point it in a direction and it will go there.
You're right. The nice thing though is that it gives you options.
Yeah.
I've never put fantastic tyres on this, but on track, it gives you options. So go into a corner too fast, you can trail brake in, it's not going to get too upset. You can chuck it in and get it a bit sideways, that's fine. Or you can just literally turn the wheel and scroll a bit of speed off with understeer. It gives you those options, and it is so rewarding to drive on a track. And the balance front to back is perfect.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, this isn't a particularly quick car. 0 to 60 is only 7.5 seconds or whatever. You know, it does struggle above about 120, but you know, from sort of 30 to 100 on a track, it's adequate performance. Depending on how brave you're feeling, you can keep up with a lot of much more expensive and on paper much quicker stuff around the track.
Awesome. Tasty.
Nice. Johnny, so you're behind the wheel of the ZS now. Tell me what you think.
First impressions, seats are nice and comfy, bolsters are holding me in quite snug, driving position's quite nice, if you like. The interior is pretty bland, it's not really exciting me at all. Steering wheel, I mean, that's not really exciting me either. It could easily have come out of some shitty Corsa. However, it's not all about what it looks like, it's how it feels. And this car genuinely feels really nice to drive. The handling of it's lovely. It's really nice. You can put it into the bends, and you can put some throttle down to get some extra traction, and it just sticks. Through the gears, it's really nice. Earlier, I gave it a bit of stick up to the speed limit, and surprisingly quick. And 180 brake standard, it definitely felt quicker than the ZR, which is 160. Ben seems to think that there's not really much difference in them, but I definitely feel that this car is quicker. It's definitely a lot more responsive in third gear, lower down in the rev range, whereas in the ZR you really had to get up high in the rev range for it to feel more responsive. I could drop it down a gear, and there's power there instantly. But even in fifth, there's still power there. Other things I like about this car is the suspension feels really sturdy. It's not bouncy, it's not overly stiff. It keeps the car flat. I wouldn't say it's on rails, but it's definitely way more kind of, gives you that confidence to be able to go around corners slightly faster if you like. I'm looking forward to seeing how it does perform in May, because we've got a track day coming up.
Yes. Keep it pinned. The V6 sings. It absolutely sings.
Definitely goes.
One of the great things about the ZS is that that engine, that V6, gives it such a personality. If you look at this car's contemporaries, you know, the competitors that it was up against at the time, or on the second-hand market, you're talking Focus ST 170,
yeah.
Golf GTI, Astra SRI, I guess. You know, this isn't a Focus RS, R32, you know, like VXR competitor. It's a step down from that.
Yeah.
But this has got so much more personality than those cars. It's got an extra 2 cylinders, which is, the engine is silky smooth, and it sounds amazing.
On that note, the engine is silky smooth. Like, you would say that because it is your car, but I'm not an MG fan. I'm not a massive MG fan, but I'm a V6 fan. And driving this, you can it is smooth. It's really nice. It sounds lovely. It feels lovely. I'm a fan. But yeah, okay. So over the years, you've loved your MGs. I've loved my Volkswagens.
Yeah.
So we've had ongoing kind of controversy around, oh, you love your MGs and you love your Volkswagens. There's a bit, you know,
bit of banter.
VWs are better than MGs, vice versa. A bit of banter, yeah, exactly.
Lads.
This is the first time I've driven a ZS, and I know Ben's been going on about them for a long time, so telling me how good they are, telling me like, you won't believe how they drive, how they feel, and I've always thought, do you know what, it's just an MG. However, my opinion, you will be pleased to know, Ben, has swayed ever so slightly towards liking this car. This isn't slow, this isn't boring, and it sounds great. So those 3 aspects, if I was to look at buying a car in this price bracket, I would definitely consider this car.
Oh, I'm genuinely pleased to hear that, Johnny.
I mean, listen to that. That is just phenomenal. Oh, Jesus. All the different angles.
Is the car park open? Should we do some handbrakes?
No, let's not do that.